forgetting all of my ideas all the time, losing them in notebooks and documents, having them scattered all over my office, all over the carpet. Hey, it's Sofia Wren, and today we're going to talk about organizing. Today I want to talk about all my many ideas and how scattered they used to feel in notebooks and documents and all over my apartment, all over my bedroom, all over my office, trying to remind myself of things, trying to reach my full potential for my business and my writing and all my many projects. I just couldn't remember, I couldn't make the connections, I couldn't develop them all into what I knew they could be. And so in my career as a writer and entrepreneur, I knew there was so much more I could be doing with my ideas, but I just didn't seem to be able to get there. Ever in the distance, there, that magical pinnacle. I just never seemed to be able to make it there. And I know that part of it was I kept over and over and over again asking myself the very wrong questions. So I'm going to share what those questions were and what questions I started to ask myself instead that have really helped me to move from being scattered and disorganized, and how I moved that into feeling organized and coherent and cohesive with everything coming together at last. So, background, I am an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. I have been writing and publishing online for over 20 years. And I don't have everything figured out, but I've figured out a lot of things, especially lately. I no longer have trouble finding my ideas, but I definitely used to. In fact, because I write a lot of times on paper, I really love the way it feels in my hands. I just felt like I would pull these notebooks off of shelves and I'd open it up and be like, whoa, this is 3 years old, but I keep having this idea and I was writing about it back then. Why didn't I do something about it in these last 3 years? Why did that not ever become a thing? It felt like, am I self-sabotaging? Like, why do all these good ideas end up being buried under more pages of other things that don't matter? How do I get the gems out? How do I get the gold out? How do I get what really is important out of my notes, out of my ideas, and do something with them so that I feel satisfied and fulfilled instead of always feeling like there's something missing and that I could be doing so much more? The first thing that I started doing when I had these things is ask myself questions like that. Like, what's wrong with me? Am I self-sabotaging? Why am I hiding things from myself? Like, is it because I don't feel like I deserve success? I mean, sure, that could be something to explore. Is it because of my brain? Is it like that I'm neurodivergent in some way? Do I need to diagnose myself from the internet to understand how to think better? Like, maybe it's a medication. I don't know. That's a thing you could ask yourself. But then there's also just being like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I think straight? Why can't I be organized and think like A, B, C, D instead of how I actually think, which is all over the place, like G, Y, M, Q, it's not necessarily in order. And I could be pointing fingers to, oh, well, it's these traumatic events that have screwed my brain up for the rest of my life. And also it is neurodiversity. And maybe because my family members being like this, it's because of me also being like this. And maybe it's just resistance and psychological stuff, or it's just, I'm just a complicated person. Maybe if I understand myself and all my complications, and I'll understand how to fix it. But these questions, in some ways, there might be something of value there, but really it was a waste of time. Really, it was a waste of time. If you're in the same position, honestly, I think that there's much better questions to ask. And that in some level, all of these are looking at you as the problem, when really it's just irrelevant. Because if there is something, you could do, get therapy, medication, learn to work with yourself and your thinking style. Okay, sure. But at the end of the day, you are how you are. I is how I is. And I just kind of came to just decide, the reason of why is it like this? Why do I forget? Is really not as important as what do we do now? At a certain point, I just had to be like, I don't care anymore. I'm kind of done, a decade of therapy. I've done a lot of different things. I'm very introspective and very reflective, and it's who cares? Enough. At a certain point of navel gazing, you have to just kind of step away from self-assessment and just be like, okay, this is me. This is the pattern. What are we going to do about it? Now what? Now what? What I decided to do is just focus on like, what is going to be the solution? What is going to be the solution? I just have to make it easier to find my stuff. I just have to make it easier to get to my ideas. I have to be able to talk to myself. I have to be able to communicate with myself across time. This is about my relationship with myself. This is about me talking to me, dialing me up on the phone and saying, baby, honey, I gotta talk to you about something. Are you there? Are you available? And picking it up and being like, I'm totally present, babe. I'm here for you. Tell me all your stuff. I'm listening. I needed to reconnect the two phone callers in my life because somebody wasn't picking up. That was the thing that I need to focus on. I have a message to give her. How do I get the freaking message to her? This is the question. How do I make it easier to find stuff so that I can make a messy first draft of something that's going to end up being published as an article, so that I can take my half awake thoughts and actually be able to understand what the heck I was talking about at 2 a.m. on Thursday. So that way I can do a rant in the car talking to myself and actually revisit it, because there was something I was passionate about and I did want to remember what that was, which is why I was taking a recording of it in the first place. There's always a reason why I'm trying to write or record or take a note of something. And so if I can't access myself in the future, it's like being disrespectful to myself. And I just had to really decide that this was important. It was worth my time and energy to work on this, to develop skills, to reach out for teachers and books and courses and find new systems to be able to reach myself, because I thought like it just should be something that just worked. But no, it's something I had to work at. I tried a lot of different things. I kept looking for different teachers until I found things that ended up working for me. And finally, I did. I found a few things that have really worked with me. And now I've been living a new life, a life of much more ease. I'm much more chill. I have better mental health, less anxiety. My girl is picking up the phone. Me in the future, we are in conversation every day, and I know what my past self was talking about. I know what's going on, and I'm building on my insights day by day. I'm not reinventing the wheel every freaking second anymore, because I can communicate with myself. I can write things that I'm gonna keep building on over time. It's so life-changing to finally be able to find things in my notebooks, in my notes, in my documents. I feel like I'm whole again. But what I had to do is I had to keep asking myself, like when there's something that is falling in the cracks, something that I keep forgetting, I just have to start thinking about, how am I going to find this later? Imagining myself in the future, where is she going to go for this? What are the triggers that are going to trigger her to look for this? How can I create opportunities for myself? One of the things I decided to do is I decided to create a club, a digital organization membership, where we're going to get together and we as a group are going to sit down and organize our notes together. And I know that that is going to help me just as much as it's going to help everyone there, because I'm going to be able to share the things I've learned, but we're also just going to do the practice of organizing right there on the Zoom call, and then it's going to be done. And so it's things like that, like just asking yourself, trying to imagine, how am I going to remember this? How can I make it easier for myself? That's the question you need to be asking. Stop asking yourself, if you're like me, what's wrong with me? What is the psychological conditioning? What is my brain type? What is no one cares. Just work on it. How can I make it easier for me to see this? That's all. And build the habit and build the routines and sit down and do stuff and learn new things. And it's okay if you don't know what you're doing, because somebody out there has a way, and you could maybe learn something that would work for you, but you won't know until you try, until you put the work in. And don't make excuses that it's because you think a certain way or whatever, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If this is something that matters to you, if you want to live a life where you don't feel like you're in pieces everywhere, then you have to put the time in, you have to do the work. And it's just as simple as that. But the benefits are just so huge. And every time I light on a piece of writing from the past that is full of insight, I just feel like my life is improving so quickly because of these little gems that I keep finding that I have at my fingertips now. And I don't feel like my brilliance is slipping through the cracks at all. I feel the complete opposite now. I just feel like I have so much to work with. I want that for everyone because everybody's ideas are valuable. Everybody is worthy of having your thoughts and feelings and ideas be remembered and be acted upon. But it's so hard to act on them if you don't remember them. And so you have to make it easier for yourself to find it in the first place. So that's the question to ask, is how do I make it easier for myself to find this gem in the first place? Full stop. And if you want some help with this, if you want to have more support, if you want to have some group camaraderie, then I'd like to invite you to my digital organization membership, which is just open and is now on sale. This is the first round we're doing it, so it's never going to be any cheaper. But definitely join us as a founder and check out the link below because I'll be sharing both my methods for project management in Notion, which is a free application, and also the app I use for all of my journals and messy ideas and crazy stuff that has been so hard to organize. I finally found a way to organize it and use it to create books and articles and videos, scripts and emails and all kinds of great stuff. I like it for my life to be able to communicate with myself about all my crazy stuff. It is now orderly. Anyway, check out the link below if you want to join us, find out more. And thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. Don't forget to ask yourself how the heck you're going to remember this brilliant idea you have. Let's get warmed up. Let's get warmed up. Okay. Okay.